So I'm here, joined with Charis. Charis trained to be a yoga teacher with me last year in 2020. And rather than stealing Charis's thunder, Charis, why don't you tell us the story of your training last year with us?
Okay, so in 2019, I was talking to a friend about how I really wanted to do my yoga teacher training, but I wanted to do it locally, didn't want to be going miles away. And someone mentioned that Amy was doing a course, so messaged you and was really lucky to get a place. So January started the course. We all met at the MMI where you're filming this. Did the first 3 months there, and then lockdown happened and we had to adapt, which Amy did amazingly, and we did a couple of months sort of full on online, and then lockdown started to ease, but I was classed as clinically extremely vulnerable for various health reasons, so was still meant to be shielding and things, so carried on doing it all online throughout the rest of the year, basically. What else do you want to know?
Well, I think we should reminisce about what happened really, because yeah, you're right. Weekend 4, so April, May, and June were completely online, weren't they? If I remember rightly. And then we came back in person, but outside. But we managed to hook it up that we were able to live stream through Facebook Live and teach outside. So you joined all the sessions, didn't you, July and August via Facebook Live. And then when we came back into the studios around September time, got a bit more sophisticated perhaps and went onto Zoom. So you joined us via Zoom, but we still use Facebook Live. And there were certain points, weren't there, where we had groups of you on Zoom and groups of you in person, and the Zoom groups were teaching the in-person and vice versa. But you know, you managed to do it all online. What do you think of what was the advantages of that? Other than obviously you could continue to do the course, what other advantages about being online did you find?
Well, I liked being able to do it in my own time. Makes a big difference. I've got 2 children, a job, all of that stuff. So there's a definite advantage to just being able to fit it in to a busy lifestyle. You can do it at your own pace, make notes, pause, have a play, that kind of thing. I suppose those were the main advantages.
You were very disciplined though. You were good at, if you missed a session, you did rewatch the training and go back over things. So I think it suited your personality for sure.
Yeah. I think you have to, if you're going to do it this way, you do have to have a reasonably high degree of being able to self-direct your learning and stick to things, sticking to that accountability, making sure you keep track of when you do what you need to do, and noting that all down so that I could send it all to you so that you could feel confident at the end of the course that I'd done the hours and done the stuff.
Yeah, totally. I mean, and I guess because I use the Teachable website to sort of manage the online content, that's really handy because you can track your progress on it. You can see the percentage of what you've done. Obviously, you can go back and rewatch things. But we met one-to-one as well. And that, I think, helped you to sometimes be refocused if you felt separated from the group.
Yeah. I think it might be different if everybody's starting from a place of doing it online. But for me, there was a sense of everyone else was meeting in person and I wasn't, and that, you know, that's always going to be difficult, but you did make sure that I still very much felt part of the group by doing one-to-ones with me, and I know you would have done more if I'd wanted them. I never felt I never felt that I wasn't being supported compared to the other people, and I'm confident that, you know, with any other online training you do in the future, you would make sure that every individual member of that group would feel supported in whatever way they needed most.
Yeah. I think that's it. I think it just proved to me that you could adapt and make the best of a bad situation, but actually it meant that, you know, the course could suit the person, you know, so much more. You know, if they needed to be there, the group trainings, get it done, they could get it done. You know, if they wanted to go back and revisit it, they could. If they had, you know, family commitment, work commitment, or just life come up, you know, there was always the opportunity. Although you did attend most of it live, didn't you, in person? You know, there were just a few, wasn't there?
Yeah, when I could, I often found that was best. Yeah, definitely. And just to you mentioned your Teachable website, which you were kind of, I think, forced to develop over the year. So we sort of came to it halfway through. I presume you'd use that from the start with sort of and that was really good because, like you say, it keeps track of what you've watched and the percentages of the course that you've done. It's really easy to navigate, you know, much better than some other websites. So I think that's a really positive kind of tool.
And of course, you've still got access to it. You know, I don't, you know, you can go back if you think, oh, I'm going to teach back bends, or I'm going to do a twist. You can at least go back and look at the
it's amazing course.
You know, because I can't remember who it was. But I signed up to a course once, an in-person course, and the teacher trainer just said to me, to all of us, oh, by the way, you're only going to take in 20% of this. And I remember thinking, I am going to take in more than this, you know, but I do write furious notes sometimes because I think I'm going to forget this, I'm going to forget this. Whereas when it's being recorded and you know you can go back and watch it, you're like, well, if I forget this, I can go back and see it again, you know, when it, because I think you get thrown a whole lot of information at you when you're any training course. And sometimes it's not relevant or you're not ready to take it on, but then it becomes something you need later on or something that you're ready to take on later on.
Definitely.
I mean, I do have to say, I'm so grateful to you, Charis. You have been an inspiration to me and changed my mindset, you know, from, you know, pre-COVID, no, you can't train online. Then in those early days of COVID, I was happy to take my shorter specialist courses, like my pre and postnatal training course online. But I was still like, I'm not sure you can train to be a yoga teacher online. And you proved to me that I was so wrong in that belief, because your final teaching practice, which you did on Zoom, and you taught everyone on Zoom, was just as good as everyone else's. You know, you weren't negatively impacted by being online. And in fact, in many ways, it was a major advantage for you. And you have really inspired me. You know, when I planned my next teacher training course, I had you in mind. So maybe.
Well, I think it was also a lot to do with how good you were at adapting the course, because, you know, I think a reasonable number of yoga teacher trainers stopped courses and waited until people could meet in person, and actually I think your adaptability throughout the year really helped, and I think that will be a strength going forward as well in terms of other courses you do and what happens with the pandemic and everything.
And I think, I mean, just to finish, like looking at your backdrop, this is your online yoga space, isn't it?
It is.
You would have never had probably thought about teaching online, you know, but
no.
It hasn't ruled out teaching in person, because, you know, you did teach in person. Jane and I encouraged people to teach in person, you know, and it doesn't matter whether the course is online or in person, you know, gather some friends and family and say, oi, let me experiment on you.
I mean, I think teaching online is, well, I find it harder anyway. So actually, I think if you do it online, you're almost setting the bar even higher. And then I find when I do things in person with sort of friends and family, pandemic allowing, I find it much easier, because you're not also having to think about, can they see me on the screen, and am I checking everybody is doing the right thing? So I do think there are advantages to training online, because you're learning a whole load of new skills which may well come in handy in the future.
Yeah, and you know what, you have to be really good on your verbal cues, because you're not adjusting. And you can't, I mean, you can't adjust at the moment anyway, but you're not adjusting online. That's a definite no-no. So you have to, like, you know, be really good at verbally guiding people. And, you know, I think, yeah, you're right. It, in most cases, has improved people's teaching. Well, look, Charis, thank you so much for joining me today. Maybe I need to sort of like honour you on the teacher training course notes, you know. inspired by Charis, you know. But, you know, I am really grateful. You know, you proved to me that, you know, you should never think this person trained this way, so therefore they're this. You should just look at the quality of the teacher. You know, how they trained, who they trained with is actually irrelevant. It's the quality of the outcome. And, you know, I am so proud of you.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you very much for helping me to finish the course the way you did.
Oh, a pleasure. A pleasure. I'll see you soon, lovely.
Bye.